Hey everyone, we are post-storm here in Central Florida now, and as you can see behind me, I have had a casualty with one of the trees in our yard. And this was a tree that was actually sitting on the other side of our privacy fence here. When it came down, I don't think it came down with the full force of a tree when you cut it down. I think it just slowly kind of came over. And with the fence cushioning some of that blow, I don't think it hit the roof with full force. I was already up on the roof, and I didn't see anything that was extremely obvious. And if there is damage after I get up there and start cutting it down, if there is damage, it'll only be here on this awning portion of the roof, so it shouldn't be that bad. From what I'm able to see right now. Things may change as I get to cutting. Some of the tools that I'm going to be using to cut this out are, I only have a light duty 10-inch chainsaw. It's an electric one, so I will be using that. I have a brand new chain that I just stuck on it. If the branches are less than about 4 or 5 inches, I'll use the reciprocating saw to cut those out. Guys, so as you can see behind me, the children are absolutely ecstatic. They want to play around this thing. And I don't know exactly, I don't want to be a killjoy about it or anything, but I also don't want the tree to fall on anybody as they're playing underneath it. So I'm trying to discourage that a little bit, and that actually is leading to some of the urgency that I have to get this tree out of here. The fact that it's a live oak means it's going to be a hardwood, and it's going to be hard on the tools. Hurricane Matthew, as you may have heard, was expected to hit here as a Category 4 storm. I think it hit at a Category 3, so it wasn't as bad, but that is still a major hurricane, and you still don't play around with those. Over here in the corner, that shed that I showed you last time, and I said in the video I didn't expect that roof to be able to make it through this hurricane. Well, I'm eating crow pie today because that roof actually made it through the hurricane, and it didn't come off, and I'm surprised. Speechless, as you can see. The shade arbor made it through the hurricane, no problem. I did take the shade cloth off the top just to reduce the amount of wind that it would catch. So it weathered it pretty well. And the fence here, now one thing that I do want to mention is that these fence posts, and I've mentioned in a previous video, in fact I think it was that shade arbor video, that I do not set posts in the ground in concrete anymore. And there's a specific reason for that. And that is because of hurricanes. Fences always lean if they survive at all, and in fact, my neighbor's fence over here between our properties, some of that did not survive. However, that's not surprising because that's an extremely old fence, so the fact that any of it is still standing is actually kind of a shock to me. I did not set these fence posts in concrete. I just stuck them into the dirt and then just made sure it was packed around the posts. And I get a lot of flack for that because people say, well, you're supposed to put concrete in there. That's what anchors it into the ground. Well, if you do that and then a hurricane comes through and it knocks these fences down, you can't reuse that fence post. It's very difficult to do. Now, none of it is leaning except for the part that the tree took out. But had it started leaning, all I'd have to do is just prop that fence back up, repack the soil around that post, and it'll stand up again, no problem. And not setting them like that did not weaken them at all, as you can see, because the fence is not leaning at all. Also, another thing that I wanted to talk about was the chicken coop back there on the other side of this tree. I had a lot of people say to me, that is never going to last through a hurricane when I built it. And so you're going to have to find something to do with your chickens. So when the hurricane was approaching here, I had several people ask me through emails or comments or even my neighbors, what are we going to do with the chickens? And I said, nothing. They weathered this storm just fine. When the wind was howling and the rain was coming, they were tucked inside the chicken coop, and the moment it would let up a little bit, they'd be out pecking around and doing what chickens do. It worked out just fine. But, you know, is that to say that this chicken coop is right if you live in Alaska? No, I don't know because I don't live in Alaska. I'm actually going to go ahead and start trimming this tree. I'm going to stop talking to the camera. I may get up there and start inspecting a little bit more where the pressure points are on the roof and see what I can do to mitigate those. So with that, I appreciate all your support. Everyone who was over on Facebook who said that they were praying and keeping us in your thoughts, I really appreciate that. Thank you. Until then.